Subscribe, please.
Hey guys, welcome back. It's your favorite Gimp with a Limp, and this is a video that I am both happy and sad to be making. This is my final thoughts for Thunder in the East by Frank Chadwick. This one has been, as you guys can see, I've made a buttload of videos about this game. It's one of the first big monsters that I've taken and covered, and I have really thoroughly enjoyed it. The only reason I'm stopping is just because it takes up so much room. That's one of the drawbacks and one of the bonuses to the game. Actually, I mean, it's a monster, so you guys know it's going to be a massive game. But it takes up 2 of my tables, and there's so much stuff that's landing right now. I just don't have the ability to keep it on the table any longer, and it's been on the table for, what, a month and a half? 2 months? Somewhere in there. I don't know. A long time. So definitely awesome game. I have thoroughly enjoyed this. It offers a lot to the player, so I wanted to kind of cover on that a little bit. I did play it ahead just a little bit farther from where I had left off, a few more turns. You guys can see, those who have been paying attention, that the northern sector never got off. It pretty much stalemated back and forth. You know, one unit moved back and forth, just really never got past that initial starting zone. The center and the south kept pushing, and they got up a little bit farther, so that was good. Hungary, I never did crap with Hungary. Those units are just crap. Romania did make a fair amount of a push. They got a little bit going back, but then there's some other Russian units still tucked down in there, and they wiped out some of the lower guys, so they've got some in a little pincer. Interesting stuff that was going on there, but the whole thing is the Germans are just so powerful compared to the Russians, but the Russians have just so much meat they can keep throwing in front of the grinder. Turn after turn, they can keep bringing out troops. They can keep putting stuff there to where the Germans can't just walk through. They have to keep, crunching along as they go. And if they lose their heavy units, so their panzers, I mean, that's the ones that punch the holes. I had to bring a panzer back over here, try to help with that northern sector that just would not move because they didn't have any panzers, so they weren't making any progress. Just an excellent game. And when I was talking about it before, about the game offers a lot. The videos that you guys have seen me showing aspects of the game, I didn't even get into the optional rules or the campaign rules, which take the game even to another level with airdrops and pararescue, and you can drop supplies down to hexes to make a unit supply, and then they have naval rules. And then when you even get into the campaign aspect, where you have the ability to link the scenario, so you can play a massive game that would take probably months to if you and another player were playing through it together. I mean, solo would take definitely months to play through the whole thing, and so many rules revolve around that. But morale of units and reserves and partisans joining into the combat, so many little nuances. But something that I found interesting is that the game has the ability to offer just that basic hex and counter war game, good for solo or versus play, that if you want to just play a scenario, it doesn't take overly long to get through a scenario. You're not going to get through it in a night. I mean, you might get through it in a day if you and a buddy, sat down, focused, and knew what you were doing, didn't have to look up a whole lot of rules. You could play through the A scenario, whichever scenario you want to pick, probably in a good focused evening, afternoon, evening together, but you're not going to play through the campaign. But it does have that to offer in the fact that if you want that more simplistic feel that doesn't have all the extra chrome that weighs you down, then the rulebook is divided out that has basic rules, where it's just the game itself, which is what you guys saw me playing, and you still have a lot going on. You have the change boxes where it's not the same units. They can be switched around. You have air units, the air boxes where they're getting damaged, flown, and then brought back depending on how many points that you have to spend. Same with the units coming onto the board. Now, when you add in all the extra rules that come with the optional rules and then the campaign, it brings that all up to a whole nother level. Then you've got a very complex, meaty war game to sink your teeth into So it's kind of neat that you have both games, essentially in a box. You've got a simpler one that you can take and play, have fun with. You've got a long one that can take you months and really get down into the nitty gritty of, what war gaming is all about. So I got to say, I really enjoyed that aspect of it. I hate having to take the thing off the table. I really do. I'm thinking about buying some extra tables just so I can set it back up. I will definitely be covering the Middle C. That one's looking awesome already. There are some articles and previews of that up. Make sure you check on Facebook and their website to go see what they've got going on there. I gotta say, just excellent design choices with everything. Do have to nag them as far as production is concerned. I don't know if you guys can see it from where it is, but towards the back there is one of the maps was a little off-color print, and that ended up not being fixed. It was something about the printer messed them up, and they were like all messed up, so they couldn't fix it for anyone. So it's not like it was just mine that didn't get fixed. Evidently, like most of them were like that. One just happens to be a little brighter. And it never bothered me here because you guys couldn't see it. It was one of the farther back maps back over there. So honestly, it's not really that big of a deal. It's like a niggle, it's a little chip in the diamond, as it were. So I'm not really going to hate on them too much for that. I will say the cards add some to the gameplay. I didn't find a huge use for them, but I tend not to worry about the cards too much in the game, in any war game, really, unless, it is a card-driven game. But a game like this, I think it stands so well on its own that you could play completely without the cards, and you're not going to be missing anything. Now, it's not to say that the cards don't add anything. I think something like that is better for versus play when you are playing against another human opponent and you want to have the ability to trick them up a little bit or hit them with something they don't see coming. They're going to see the troops on the board. They're going to see the flanking maneuver that you've got working going over here or there or whatever, but they're not going to see it when you pull out that card and hit them with X, Y, or Z, some improvements, some improved positions or reinforcements, or your headquarters flip over to attack all of a sudden, something along those lines. It does add to the game, but I think for a solitaire player, you can play easily without the cards and you wouldn't be missing anything in the game. As far as all the other components go, counters, excellent. Again, I've mentioned it before. I'm going to say it again. I love these supply dice. One of the best ideas they had. You're not rolling these things. They're just there to help you keep track of what the actual supply radius is across the board. And it makes it so much easier instead of having to look down on the map and try to figure it out, because there's, supply radius right here. You can see one, but that kind of blends in, This big yellow die does not blend in. You can see at a glance where supply hexes are and how far they are. That's a excellent design choice. I would love to see other war games continue on with that. If Frank and Alan and the others see this video, please include that in the Middle C and the rest of the series. That's a good choice. I really did appreciate that. I liked how the campaigns were all set up for the maps. Different starting positions were color coded. It made it very easy to get the game set up, especially a game of this size. Same with the units. When you were looking through your scenario booklet and it had all the different units listed down and then their historical units. That way, when I was drawing out the specific units for the north and the middle, the central, and then the southern sectors, I knew that I was grabbing the right units because I could grab the specific historical ones and know that, okay, I've got the right, counter, 8-4 counter here, and 12-9-6 here, whatever the case may be. Honestly, it seems like they did everything they could, like I said in the very beginning in my setup video, to streamline a big monster war game. That seemed to be their goal, in my opinion. As many player aids as needed without too many. I mean, they could have had more player aids. I think Unconditional Surrender has more player aids than this, but everything fits very well onto the player mats for each of the different factions. You have everything located together. the units at the top. In the middle, you've got your supply. And then at the bottom, you've got your change boxes and your force pools. Real easy to understand. You can stack the units right onto the player mats. Very easy to keep up with everything that you've got going on the board. Same with the turn record check. It's simple. It works. It took me a sec to get my mind wrapped around the months and the weeks because I was like, wait, what is this? But once you understand what you're looking at, it works very well. Like I said, I think they streamlined a monster war game as best that they can. But it's still a monster game. If you're not into monster games, you're probably not going to be into this. Even if you're into the Eastern Theater, this is a big boy. It's going to take up, like I said, 2 tables. These are 2, was it 6x2? So it's probably, or 2.5. It's somewhere around like 4 feet and 6 feet long, roughly on the table space. I forget exactly how big these tables are. Maybe it's 5x6. Regardless, it's a lot of space. So if you aren't into games that, take up that much space, they're going to be 4 or 5 maps on their own. This one's not going to be for you. But if you are kind of looking for something similar in vein to things like Cataclysm and Unconditional Surrender, the easier to play monster type game, Thunder in the East is definitely one that I would recommend to kind of fit into that niche. I do believe it solos well. It doesn't have anything that makes it solo well, as in random chip draw or anything like that. It is a I go, you go system. It just has to do with the streamlined nature of the rules themselves and the way the game is set up. The ease of play, the quality of life assurances basically that make it easy to solo. And you will get so focused on one side. That's why I found is like when I'm doing the Germans, I was focused on what was going on with them. So I wasn't thinking about the Russians until I actually got onto the Russian turn. And then I was focused on what the Russians were doing. And it really did kind of give me a back and forth. This is one of the better ones that I've had a back and forth with. I did find myself forgetting more often than not about the units down here than I should. I was so focused on what's going on in this area. I wasn't worried too much about what's going on down there. And that's just, you're playing by yourself. So limited brain power. I'm a Marine. What do you expect? Overall, though, you guys know I highly recommend it. I really have enjoyed the game. Components, gameplay, everything's real great. If you're into Eastern Theater, yeah, it's for you. If you're into monster games, definitely it's for you. Great components, great game. Definitely recommend. I will be looking into the Middle Sea when it comes out. And yeah, that's going to be it, guys. Again, I do apologize that I'm not playing it out any further. It is not because I don't want to. It is simply because I do not have the space to keep it up any longer, unfortunately, since I have so many other things on the docket that I have to get in front of the camera for you guys. All right, that's going to be it for me. You guys take care. I'll catch you in the next one.